like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who That Nation. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to you guys for being in alive. Please do me a service by hitting upon the like button and subscribe button, man. We up in this thing. Shout out to you guys here as we're in the building. Much love. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the Sports Coma, man. We up in this thing. Got a poll question up, man, as well. Is asking the question. I know I asked this yesterday, but I had to refine the poll to make it a little bit more clearer. Which position do we pursue next? Now, there's a DE and defensive line combination question. Offensive line, linebacker, or cornerback / safety. 4 results. Feel free to vote. Get in there and vote while you can, right? We'll finalize the poll at the end of the stream, and we'll go over it. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this live. Much love to you guys as well. Bunch of stuff to cover, man. Y'all do me a service by hitting the like button as we get going. The Saints really quiet on third day. We don't expect them to be tearing it up every day. But they did accomplish quite a few things here, man, in this stream. Anyway, let's get right into it, man, and kind of get into this particular breakdown. Looking at the Saints numbers right now, over the cap, have the Saints estimated at $6.1 million in monies, right? That's what they have currently. Now, of course, there are still contracts to be restructured. Carl Granderson, Cesar Ruiz, Eric. We already done Eric McCoy, Pete Werner's contract, Divine Gacho, Nate Shepard if you need it. So there are still places as a team we can go to get extra money if the Saints feel like they need it, right? So we'll be looking at that. So as Wednesday hit, so did the dead cap money. I posted this on the community section, fam. As you can see that we have a collection of 113.9 plus 113 million plus in dead money that the Saints will have over the next couple of years. And of course, like we're saying, and for the family members who kind of unclear on the dead cap money situation, basically what it is it refers to cap space that is occupied by players who are no longer on the active roster. Now, this is because of, the past restructures or early releases is basically what it is. So the team faces a massive dead cap totally because of the strategy of kind of pushing the costs into the future to remain competitive, because this is the kicking of the can, the result of kicking the can, right? So the Saints carry a lot of dead cap money. The great bulk of it is Derek Carr's 36 plus Cam's almost 19 mil. Demario's 14 plus mil, so on and so forth. 12, almost 11, 12 from Ryan Ramczyk. So it is simply what it is. So, so we'll see how that goes. So the voided, a lot of that is because of the phantom years. That's added into the contracts of players, and that kicks it into the future. And that has to wear out over time. But the reality, and let me kind of put that up there in the screen a little closer, is as you can see that the Saints, they have a lot of commitments in 2027, which is roughly, according to some of the book numbers, 164.5 mil, which is actually lower in last year's. And then the 2028 and beyond commitments drop off to just over 54.5 mil in 2028. So it's the first time in over a decade the team will have what they call clean cap space. So you're looking at a couple years from now, it's going to be significantly lower. But is that the strategy? And we'll see what they do moving forward, because that in itself is something the Saints have to kind of keep in mind, so to speak, about how they want to do good bookkeeping going forward. They have an opportunity to clean the books. They don't have to kick the can. So this is a philosophy that we could change going down the line. So once again, as we look at the cap number right here, you'll see it's at 16 plus right now. And the Saints have done some wonderful things. Let's just be honest in how they've been running and operating. They found some players, man, really added some top players in day one and day two. And I just give them a lot of credit for how they've been operating, man, as we go forward. So let's kind of look at that, kind of recap this so far, because not too much has been happening in terms of what we've been seeing from the black and gold as of today. We've seen several Saints get signed away. We've seen a couple of the tight ends, one with the Browns. Foster Moreau end up going to the Texans after spending three years here. So you see a couple of those backup tight ends gone, and good fortune to those guys. But in terms of what we're dealing with the Saints, saying, it's not really something they've been really kicking and handling up today. They've been relatively quiet today. So as well. So anyway, Trevor Etienne, $52 million. That's I was starting. That's RB1, Noah Fant's deal. Is 2 years, 8+ mil for 2 years. So it basically breaks down to just over 4 mil per year, right? And shout out to the Pell fams, man, that might be watching BI return to the city. Right now, the Pell's kicking off to the Toronto Raptors in the Smoothie King Center. They're up 2-0. I'm monitoring that as we doing the stream, because ultimately after the game is over with, we'll go into PPR and do a recap of this matchup. So kind of doing multiple things. But nevertheless, David Edwards, the offensive guard, the best in free agency, some coined him. He got his deal, 4-year deal. John Ridgway was re-signed on a 2-year deal at 6.2. Caden Ellis and day number 2, 3 years, $11 million, $33 million combined, $23 million guaranteed. Max value of $39 for Caden Ellis, returning to the team. A lot of people was like you, they weren't excited about the Caden Ellis signing. I consider it a solid signing. You got a guy that was drafted by the Saints, know the Saints culture, a hardworking, smart player with NFL blood. Remember, his father was Big Luther Ellis, who was a hell of an interior defensive force for the Detroit Lions back in the day. And Caden Ellis was highly productive for the Falcons. And despite his best efforts, he couldn't get them to do diddly squat. But that's all right. I consider it unfinished business. That's what I call it. Coming back to the Saints, unfinished business to get us where we need to be, which is in the playoffs and back on top of the NFC South. Also, you look at Julian Blackman. He signed a 1-year deal. And Ryan Wright, the booming leg Ryan Wright, 4-year deal, $14 million. 2.5 signing bonus with that. So these are solid signings. New featured back in New Orleans for Trevor Etienne. Elvin operates as a reserve back, RB2. You're going to need, I hear the rumblings, people talking about the trade this. I unless Elvin changes his mind, I'm going to rock with what Elvin said, which he don't want to go anywhere. And I don't understand why these people sit up here thinking that Elvin Kamara going somewhere when the Saints need multiple good running backs. One running back, this ain't back in the day. You need multiple running backs, good ones, just in case RB1 gets hurt, RB2 can step in there, RB3 or whatever. You need, if anything, the last couple of years have taught us about needing depth. You keep Elvin Kamara where he is and leave him the hell alone, in my opinion. Noah Fant operates as TE2 behind or with Juwan Johnson. Big physical blocking, mostly catching tight end. That helps out. That improves. Getting David Edwards was phenomenal. If you put the tape on and watch David Edwards, and we'll do this on the next Patreon, where he is just pushing guys out of the way, just tearing up. So I could see, fam, I really could see the Saints doing a lot of running to that left side. With Kelvin Banks Jr. and David Edwards operating on that left side, man, listen here. You know, because I know they're going to be running more left than they're running right, if you know what I mean. The salad. But it is simply is what it is, man. But congratulations with the Saints getting that. That was huge. That was a big hole. And John Ridgeway operates as depth. That one kind of surprised me because I didn't know the Saints thought that much of John Ridgeway. There were other interior forces for the Saints that were really playing better than him, but for them to tap him and give him a 2-year, $6.2 million, which is $3.1 per year, was interesting. Caden Ellis, like I said, it's a very solid move. So they've done some good things. They've kind of put him in a lineup with Pete Werner and also with our other linebacker there, Stutzman. So at the end of the day, it is it's hard. You can't replace a Demario Davis. It's just impossible. Over time, you get quality production from the linebacker position. But I think the biggest hole the Saints have on defense is who's the leader of the defense right now, baby. You tell me who's the leader, right? Who's the leader? But anyway, let's hit some of these articles, man. Y'all hit that like button as we get going. And these are some of the thoughts from some of the writers that kind of talked about what was going on here as the Saints up 13-10 on the Toronto Raptors. They actually started Herb Jones as a center option, gets a legit 7 fin. I just don't be getting these people. I just want to hurry up and get this coach up out of here so we can get somebody with some sense. But anyway, let's get right into it, man, on this article right here. This is one right here that they talk about 3 players the Saints could target in day 3 and possibly day 4 now, because day 3 is pretty much in the mud. A lot of moves was being made by other teams today that we ultimately did see. A lot of the other teams was doing what they were doing. So all I could say is when we start looking at improving, the rest of the way, it depends on what the game plan is. Cheaper free agencies for the depth purposes, because obviously Luke Fortner leaves to Carolina, and that's huge in its own right, because they gave him a 1 year $4.75 million, but he's a starter out there. $5 million for a starting center. Even if the Saints wanted to match, he would be only a backup. Carolina's giving him an opportunity to start out there. But anyway, let's look at some of the moves that the reporters think will happen, right? Here are some options for the Saints to consider. Deebo Samuels. Most recent team, the Washington Commanders. Saints wide receiver room, one piece away. Samuel's still out there looking for a new home, racked up over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 16 games, 2025. If the Saints want to add another receiver through free agency rather than the draft, Deebo would be a good piece to pair with Chris Olave and Devon Bailey. Deebo Samuel, anybody? That might cost a little bit. We'll see. Travion Diggs, right? This is another name. These are these guys want to make some money, man. So the Saints lost Alante, and they could use a cornerback. Diggs isn't a perfect fit, but he's just 27. There's no denying the fact that he has talent. This is a guy who had 11 interceptions in one season way back in 2021. That's not going to happen often, but there is talent there, and he's young, 27 years of age. Trayvon Diggs, anybody? I ain't gonna front. Debo Samuel and Trayvon Diggs on your team. That's another that is eye opening. That lets people know, hey man, we serious. We serious about this. We really serious about making this happen. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see where the Saints. I don't know if they want to spend that kind of money. Like I said, the cap money, they're just over $16 million right now, 16.1 plus, and cap money. And they could restructure as needed. But is it a philosophy? Now, Mickey did say this, that they wanted to get back to he didn't say responsible book management, accounting management, but he wanted to get back to, balanced books where they don't have to gamble as much. You get what I'm saying? Meaning kicking the can. They finally see some daylight here. They finally about to get their head above water. So there's no need to be as aggressive as that. That, of course, is why you accrue all of these picks. You have 8 draft picks, right? You can pick the guys. You could take a couple of them and package them for a veteran if you want to. You have options with these picks, in other words. So it is interesting. And then, of course, this one right here, the man talks about with Cam Jordan, most recent team, New Orleans Saints. This one is pretty obvious. The Saints lost one veteran leader in Demario, and another one is out there for the taking after 10.5 sacks this past season. Saints and Davis go way back. While he's a free agent still, the Saints should be trying to find a way to bring him back. He can still help the defense and as an important leader to have. Well, in this season, we realized that having a leader, a bona fide guy that leads this sort of thing at an advanced stage, not saying the man is ancient, but in NFL age, it is old, 37, 36. But if you can still perform, like we seen 143 tackles last year from Demario Davis, got him a $22 million deal with the Jets. Cam Jordan still showing that he can have it. 10.5 sacks led the Saints, showing, hey, man, I can still go. If a team offered Cam Jordan 2 more years to play, like a Demario Davis contract, not saying he gets that much, but if they offer him that, I believe he does play. I've heard Cam in interviews say that he could still play. Like next year, he still has the fire to play. And some of these guys, that's how they are. So I could see Cam taking a 2-year deal to go somewhere, and there's money still out there. Now, we've seen what happened with Max Crosby. Shout out to Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson got a big fat contract from the Baltimore Ravens that made him really happy. We'll see what happened with Crosby, why he failed that physical. Because there's a lot of rumors out there and speculation on why Crosby failed that physical. But he's out there. The Raiders got a mess on their hands, man. They got a mess on their hands. So we're going to figure how that works out, man. But nonetheless, Cam is an option, man. He's an option for a team that might be looking for something, which gives me the perfect segue to this one. How about this article right here from Yardbarker? Let's get right to it. Chief star posts cryptic tweet about Saints Cam the man Jordan. Cam Jordan has been the heart and soul of the Saints defense, according to the writer, for the past 15 years. He's an unrestricted free agent as of Wednesday, y'all. We know that. Free to sign with any team. Cam has reportedly been open to moving on to the different franchise while the Saints work to bring Cam back. His peers around the league are taking notice. The Kansas City Chiefs star defensive linebacker, Mr. Chris Jones, sent out a post on X Wednesday afternoon with a short but simple message. And it could be a cryptic hint at something yet reported. Will Jones joins the Chiefs. Will Jordan join Jones in the Chiefs? Jones cut through the free agency noise with a short cryptic nod to the Saints legend saying, Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan. Why would he say this? Could something be going on here behind the scenes with Cam and Pat Mahomes boys Kansas City Chiefs club? It's not an official recruitment, but it doesn't have to be. Jones, fresh off another dominant season, is fully aware what a veteran like Jordan could contribute to the Chiefs' defensive line. The idea of pairing Jones with a rejuvenated Jordan coming over a resurgent 10.5 sack campaign with posts a nightmare for opposing offensive coordinators. While some of the supporters, hold their breath on it, Jordan remains blunt on his free agency. He told AP last week that many uncertainties remain. His quote was, quote, "We'll see what happens," end quote. Quote, "It is obvious that I have to be a free agent. What else would you call a player without a contract?" End quote. It's a fair point for a player who has been the face of the Saints for 15 years. Wow. The Saints would love to bring him back. It's clear that Jordan is open to all options if Mickey, online now, goddammit, doesn't extend a reasonable offer. The 94% chance of him returning, a number that Jordan joked about earlier this offseason, might drop to zero. Kansas City has over $21 million in available cap space, according to Over the Cap, though the signing of running back Kenneth Walker II, tight end Travis Kelce could lower the available space. Within those moves become official, Jordan has a projected market of about $7 million, according to SportTrack, but may be willing to take even less for an opportunity to contend for a bowl. Cam Jordan says Chris Jones with the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you guys think about that? How St. Family, how who that nation? Cam to the Chiefs. It's a little different. Now, of course, they can offer Cam a contract, and the Saints perhaps can then say, we'll match it. We'll give you this, that, and like Cam has to, but he's totally unrestricted. He's totally unrestricted. So we have to be able to figure out what's going to happen here, because Cam Jordan, whether we get him back this year or this upcoming season, if it's a 1-year deal, and then the following season, at some point, you're going to have to address the defensive end position by finding somebody to replace him. And that's the whole thing, man. And when I mean replace him, you can't replace Cam like you can't replace Demario, but you're going to have to get a young fella in there, because at one point, Cam was a young fella out of Cal, and we got to get somebody in there. Hell, it might not be a young player. It might be somebody the Saints looking at to replace Cam. If they can't bring him back, maybe they're looking at somebody else. There are options out there at the defensive line position that the Saints can pivot to. What y'all guys think about it? I love to have Cam back, but I understand, just like I understand how we lost Demario Davis, Alante Taylor, these guys go. And although you want to see him finish with your team, man, that's still time and money for Cam, just like it is for Demario. So we'll see what happens, man. It's a lot of teams out there with bread, and Cam talking $7-8 million for a 2-year contract, 16, 17. Somebody trying to give Cam for a couple years to come back and play. Can the Saints levy up and get Cam and keep him here? They couldn't agree on what he wanted prior to him getting to the point where they just shut negotiations down. That says a lot. Because if I value you as a player and you see your value, and Cam asked that, and he means something to the organization from a monetary standpoint, Cam been here for 15 years. There is such a thing as seniority, right? It's supposed to mean something. Like, you have an employee, you got a business, you got an employee you had for 15 years, and then you have one you have for 3-4 years. Which one you going to lean on than the other? The guy that been there for 15 years. Most certainly the guy that been there for 15 years who never had a scandal, been a total community guy, 100% down for you. Wouldn't that guy be a guy that should be like, oh, man, listen, man, we got to, well, what you want, bro? This? All right, you got that. Just saying. When the talks broke down and he hit free agency, that's an interesting standpoint, if you ask me. Because at that point, that let me know the Saints was ready for whatever. Just like with Demario, they ready for whatever with Cam Jordan. So they made their offer, and if Cam end up with the tweet with the Chiefs on that cryptic tweet from the big fella Jones out there from Kansas City, that's a good place for Cam to fall. I wasn't even thinking about that one, y'all. I wasn't even thinking about that one. to be honest with you, man. The Chiefs, I wasn't thinking about that one. But it'll be interesting, man. It most certainly will definitely be interesting. All right, let's keep it going, fam. Let's move on to the next article right here. This one, shout out to Demario Davis, who left. And of course, I don't know if you guys heard, but the Saints did put out a message from Slick Mick Loomis and Gail Benson. They did, however, put out a message to Demario Davis. And Mickey Loomis says, and I'll read it in my Mickey Loomis voice, this quote here, his statement to Demario Davis, quote, on the behalf of the New Orleans Saints, we are grateful for the contributions of one Demario Davis to our football team. Demario Davis gave everything, both performance and leadership perspective to this team for the last 8 years, and for all that we are extremely grateful for this past year. Demario has great impact on both the growth of our defense with the implementation of a new scheme and playing an important role, goddammit, in the development of many of our young players on a promising defense. Although we are going in a different direction at this time, Demario will always be looked at as one of the most impactful players, whoever to wear the black and gold. We wish him and his family great success as he continues his career. Oh my God damn it. All right. So that's Mickey Loomis's quote about Demario and Gail. I'm not going to even go there with y'all on Gail, but Saints team owner Gail Benson says, quote, when Demario Davis first joined the Saints in 2018, not only did he help our defense reach new heights, but his dedication to greatness and leadership resulted in him being voted by teammates as a captain immediately, becoming the fabric of our organization. His outstanding character and commitment in the community to several important causes made a significant impact in New Orleans, with him being named our team's man of the year 3 times in 6-season period and being selected as the 2021 Bart Starr Award winner. Demario, his wife, Tamela, and their 6 children will always be a part of the Saints family, and we wish Demario continued success in the next chapter of his playing career. So shout out to Double D. And for real, man, Demario Davis, I don't know, I maybe have to do a poll on that, to kind of get you guys to, because listen, we have to, that's a subject of discussion among the Who Dat Nation. We have to kind of determine where's Demario Davis's but his place among the greatest linebackers the Saints have ever seen. Where is his place? Now, Ricky Jackson, to me, is the greatest Saint outside of Drew Brees. My Saints Mount Rushmore is Drew Brees, Willie Roaf. No, actually, if I have to put it in order of impact, Drew Brees, Ricky Jackson, Willie Roaf, and the third Saint would have to be got to be Alvin Kamara, right? Sam Mills. I guess the fourth one could be up for debate, but it has to be like one of them dudes, man. The fourth Saint could be negotiable, but it would be a combination of people, I guess. It would be like Sam Mills. Hell, it's a bunch of really awesome players, man, to think about. But when you talk about the greatest of players, the guys that took all the records down, dominated the stat books, made an impact on a team, I got to respect Alvin and throw him up there. But y'all might look different. But those are the top 3. I think you guys wouldn't dispute. But in terms of linebackers, when we talk about Saint great linebackers, the greatest linebacker in the history of the Saints was Ricky Jackson. He's a Hall of Famer, owns several of the Saints tackle and sack records. Cam took a sack record. Well, Cam got to be up there. Cam, if it's I have to say Cam Jordan is the last guy on there. If I have to come to think about it, Cam Jordan got to be the guy. Now, I don't know if Cam Jordan's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He should be. When it's said and done, and when he plays this year, I think he's going to probably sign a 2-year contract with somebody because I think Cam can still do it. But Cam probably, I would have to switch in and say probably Cam, I would put Cam above Alvin Kamara on my Mount Rushmore. But in terms of the linebackers, the only linebacker I could say that's greater than the greatest linebacker to me is Ricky Jackson. And Demario has to be up there. And in my mind, I think he probably better in my mind in the history of the Saints to like what you see. I don't know if to say the field mouse with Sam Mills and Pat Swilling is there. I think he's better than Vaughn Johnson statistically. And then he's up there. Let's just say as far as my opinion, I think he's up there. In my opinion, I think Demario Davis is up there in the top 3 of our linebackers. He ain't better than Ricky Jackson in my book, but Demario Davis is up there, man. So at some point, I guess we can have this discussion about greatest Saints linebackers and where they rank and his impact. Because what I know is when Demario Davis stepped, my personal account of Demario Davis, when he stepped on the team coming from as a free agent, the Saints had musical chairs at the linebacker spot for many years. They had freaking James Laurinaitis. They had Curtis Lofton playing in the position. Y'all name the linebackers. Name the linebackers. Y'all remember? Y'all remember the linebackers? Name the linebackers. James Laurinaitis, who barely could play. Curtis Lofton, the former Falcon, he was here. I mean, it was just bringing in different people, and they just wasn't it. Well, that was Vilma. Vilma's up there too. Shout out to James. Vilma was after Vilma and Fajita and those guys were gone. That's when it all happened. Like the Saints had that Super Bowl run, you seen Vilma leave and then Fajita leave. Those guys got old. And then the Saints started trying to bring in guys. And then that's when you seen Curtis Lofton. That's when you seen James Laurinaitis. That's when you seen a few other guys that I remember. But when Demario Davis came, he brought something the Saints defense didn't have since Vilma. They had control, they had respect, they had discipline, they had people there to lock the defense down. They had a leader. They had guys there. So, I mean, it's interesting to say the least, man. But the bottom line to me is, man, he meant a lot to the city, to the team. So when him gone, the team has to find a new. And it's like I said, the Saints' mindset going into this is, hey, man, we got to keep it going. This is business, not personal. So that's their philosophy, and they felt that way. Demario walked, Lalante's out of here, and Cam Jordan could very well be gone. And I showed y'all that article. Could it be a situation where Cam is headed toward the Chiefs? He said he wants to go somewhere where he wants to compete. That would be a good spot. And plus, guess who's up there? Spagnuolo. Spags is up there. Y'all remember Spags was the guy he was kind of sucky in the one season that we had him down here. Y'all remember Spags. Spags was a dude that was 1 year as a Saints defensive coordinator, and he stunk. But Cam, remember? So, I mean, he's up there, man, and, boy, that could look different. Jones and Cam, boy, that can look real nasty. Yeah, see y'all on that Stephon Anthony. Boy, look at these names. Says shout out to what's up 985 Live. Shout out to y'all, man. Let me get some shots out right quick before I go to the next one. Tug Graff, Greg Raging Cajun, 80s Baby 73, T Mama. What's up, T Mama? Shout out to T Mama. Tim Dunn, OG Jerry. All right, shout out to you. Good to see you, my brother. Who that Nola? What's up, my brother? L Dub, what's poppin', fam? What's good with y'all, man? Good to see y'all, man. Y'all give me a who that. I got y'all, fam. Shout out to y'all as well. What's up, Maul? Shout out to Maul, man. Thank you for being a member for 64 months. He says, where do you rank Vilma as a Saint? Sheesh. Vilma up there, bro. But, boy, dare I say, even though Vilma got us a bowl, fam. Jonathan Vilma got us he was a part of the Super Bowl squad, wasn't he? But outside that's his impact, man, because he came from the Jets. Was hurt. He was balling for the Jets. He got hurt up there. The Saints brought him down here. Man got healthy. He turned it, helped us win a bowl. In terms of where he ranked among the linebackers, sheesh. He up there, bro. He up there. He ain't higher than Ricky Jackson. To me. I can't put Sam Mills is up there too. Shout out to Sam Mills. He up there, but Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Demario Davis, Jonathan Vilma, that's how I see him, bro. That's how I see him up there, man. A few people, y'all, the Who Dat Nation, the diehards, they cannot disagree with me on that. Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Demario Davis, Jonathan Vilma, those are the 4 best in the history of the game, man. We had some stellar ones, man. We had some stellars. All right, shout out to y'all, man. Thank you, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, Pels up 33-32 on the Raptors right now. Shout out to the Pels. Let's get this dub and keep it rolling. Once again, shout out to you, Maul. Appreciate you, bro, for being a member. Yeah, Sam Mills, Vaughn Johnson. I didn't forget Vaughn. I just think that, I don't want to say better, but I think when you talking linebacker lore, Vilma and Demario, in my estimation, my humble estimation, I think they are above. They rank over. I hate to say it sound like that, but I think they outrank him. And y'all tell me if y'all agree, because I think Vaughn Johnson was an excellent linebacker. He was one of the key members of Dome Patrol. Pat Swillen is up there, but I think Demario and Jonathan Vilma, in my opinion, they just outrank him, right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that. I know Tim said he had 4 Pro Bowls. I got you, bro. I got you. But, yeah, they had several players. Yeah, y'all mentioned A.J. Klein. Who else was there? Y'all mentioned a bunch of them, man. Yeah, who was the other linebackers I just seen that y'all ranked? Stephon Anthony. Well, yeah, when Jonathan Vilma stepped away from the game, the Saints had to find linebackers, and all those linebackers, they had Curtis Lofton, yes, Stephon Anthony they drafted, Kiko Alonso, Manti Te'o, you had all that nonsense. Alex Anzalone. And remember, Alex Anzalone was doing good the first year or two, and then he kept getting hurt, and then he got real timid in his play. He wasn't aggressive and all this kind of stuff, and he had to get over being injury prone. When he went to Detroit, he kind of got past that, and he started being physical again. He ended up going to the Detroit, and now he's in Tampa Bay now. So we'll see him soon. Yeah. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Chrisify, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. All right. Much love, fam. Good to see you. Slim South say facts, Q. That's the linebackers. That's my call, fam. Y'all tell me if y'all disagree. In the groove. What's up, Sans Fajita and Shanley? Yes, I remember Shanley. Yeah. What about Scott Shanley? In terms of rank, Scott Shanley ain't up there in my opinion. Hell, Scott Shanley is you talk about linebackers, bro. Scott Shanley, I like Scott Shanley. Shout out to Scott Shanley. But Scott Shanley will tell your ass, hey, man, I ain't in this discussion. Playboy. Don't put me in that shit. He'll tell you that because Scott Shanley ain't over Scott Fajita. When you start really going into it, the top people, and I don't have to rank them, but the order of importance of impact. When you talk about linebackers, it's a blessed position for the Saints. Ricky Jackson, Hall of Famer. Sam Mills, Hall of Famer. Pat Swillen, Demario, Vaughn Johnson, Vilma, those type of, oh man, come on. Then they got a few mixed in there that are actually pretty good. They was just in a bad era, like Mark Fields. What is he? He falls a little further, but I would probably put Mark Fields. He would be right around there with Mark, because Mark Fields was actually a decent linebacker. He was just in a bad era of time with the Saints. A lot of people don't remember Mark Fields, but Mark Fields was a hell of a linebacker, man. Y'all remember Mark Fields? Yeah. All right. What'd you say, Randolph? Randolph says you put him over Jonathan Vilma. Scott Shanley over Vilma? Is that what y'all saying? Oh, Turnbull. Yeah, Zach Bowen. Yeah, Zach Bowen doesn't fit in the equation, bro. Ronaldo Turnbull was good, bro. Ronaldo Turnbull was good. He just ain't Could anybody say Ronaldo Turnbull in their top 5 Saints? Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Demario Davis, Vaughn Johnson. You gonna put Ronaldo Turnbull at 5? I mean, I wouldn't even. He ain't even in the top 5. He ain't in the top 5. Shanley ain't up there. Shanley is not. Shanley was a cool dude, but at the end of the day, man, Shanley he ain't up there, fam. Charlie Clemens, good Lord. Charlie flipping Clemens. I don't know. All right, 80s Baby says the era you play makes a difference. Dome Patrol was at least 20 pounds. Yeah, I know they did wear 20 pounds of equipment. But they were dressed for the occasion, wasn't they? They was dressed for the occasion. They didn't have shoulder issues and injuries because they had the pads on. Like if you watch today's players, they got all the smaller gear because they built on speed. Those back in the day, it was power. Now some of them guys had speed, but those shoulder pads was big like that because they were hit with the shoulder. They would hit the shoulder. They ain't have all these issues and problems and with their shoulders being hurt and all that. No. It was dressed for the occasion. Hell, I remember they used to have neck guards. Remember the big, thick neck guards they used to wear around there? You look crazy as hell, but at least that understood to keep your head steady so your head don't jerk back when you hit the ground and your head slam on that turf. Because back in the day, when they lay out it had the turf, they laid it out. There wasn't no padding under there. They put that green rug down on top of some concrete and you say, go out there and play some football. Nowadays, they add padding and all that up under it to try to make it a lot soft. And some stadiums actually have real grass. Some of them got fake grass, but this is what the players were asking for to kind of stop the injuries. Make the ground be able to absorb the contact. But them guys was playing on a rug on top of concrete. This real shit. I remember they were talking about that, man. Linebackers talked about that all the time. Randolph says Vaughn Johnson is the most underrated member of the Dome Patrol. This man struck fear in his opponents. Just ask Steve Young. You ain't lying. Montana, for reference, Vaughn Johnson. Yeah, he was a man among beasts, bro. But when you talk about the Dome Patrol, people gonna talk about the Dome Patrol. They gonna mention Vaughn Johnson's name last out of the 4. If I tell the truth, when y'all name the in order of importance, when you name the damn Dome Patrol people, when you name them, you name Vaughn Johnson last. Be honest. You go Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, Sam Mills, Vaughn Johnson. Be honest. That don't make him worse, That just means that he was playing among greatness. And he was great in his own right, but his degree, his skill was diminished by the guys that he was playing. You mentioned Vaughn Johnson's name last, and why? Because all of them. Ricky's a Hall of Famer. Sam Mills left from New Orleans and went out there, was balling for Carolina. They put a statue up there for Sam Mills. That's how good Sam Mills was. The field mouse. You got to be doing something to get a statue. Right? So it's interesting, man. But big ups, though. Yeah, Randolph, you right, though. You right, bro. I would love. We had so many great ones, bro. It's crazy. Let's see. T-Dub says Ricky, Sam, Demario, Jonathan, Pat Swiller. See that? That's excellent right there. I cannot argue that, bro. T-Dub, that's right on the money, my brother. Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, because both of them dudes is Hall of Famers. Demario right up under them. Jonathan Vilma and Pat Swiller can't be mad at some point, Pat Swiller going to get in that hall. Some point, Demario Davis is going to get in that hall. Just being honest with you, that's a legit order right there. No problems at all, brother. No doubt on that. All right, yeah, you remember that T-Mama? He went out there. That guy went out there and then they got a statue of Pat Swilling in Carolina. Outside of their stadium, it's a statue of Pat Swilling. I mean, of Sam Mills. Shit, we didn't give Sam a statue, but the Carolina did. Right on South Mint. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of his statue. It's right out front the stadium. And it's not as him as a coach. It's Sam Mills as a player. Look at this. Sam Mills meant a lot to people. Look at that. A good statue of him, too. Look, it's right, the stadium behind him. There goes his Hall of Fame bus. He in the fall. Telling you, man, Sam Mills was somebody. Right in front of the stadium. The great Sam Mills. I wonder what took us so damn long. There he is. That's a picture of him right there in front of his own statue. Look. See, I thought they gave him the statue after the fact. No, he got it before. Look. It's a good likeness of old Phil Mouse. But yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about, bro. I mean, all these years, we never gave the Dome Patrol, as great as they were, we didn't get a Dome Patrol a statue. We didn't do none of that for them. We ain't give them none. We were slow on the draw with that, man. It's supposed to be Champion Square. They call it that. We should have had statues like in Champion Square. You got statues of Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson, Drew Brees, Willie Roaf. You're going to put one up there, Alvin Kamara. You know, your all-time greats. Line them up. Put statues out there of them guys. That's supposed to be Champion Square, right? Yeah. All right. Anyway, man, let's keep it moving, man. That was a good little linebacker talk right there, man. What's up, Nodlin? Shout out to Nodlin. Big ups to you, man. Appreciate y'all for being there. Y'all hit that like button. Let's move on to this, fam. This is an article right here about Derek Carr. Chances of NFL return may hinge on Aaron Rodgers, according to the writer. Saints doesn't appear to have many options, if any, according to this. So what's the latest on the Derek Carr debacle? Quarterback market has been moving quickly so far this offseason in the NFL. The NFL league's tampering window opened up on Monday, and we've already seen few of the open quarterback jobs close. Tuesday, the Jets reportedly agreed to terms with Geno Smith from the Raiders. Top free agent Malik Willis agreed to terms with the Miami Dolphins. The Arizona Cardinals have been a team to watch in the quarterback market, but reports have pointed to Jacoby Brissett being the team starter in 2026. That's what I was telling Lo the other day. I thought Brissett would be the guy that they go back to, because this draft is not looking all of that. But right now, the job appears to be most up in the air is the Minnesota Vikings job. But they've been heavily connected to Kyler Murray, who, by the way, reports indicated today that Kyler Murray is going up there to meet with the Vikings. He's going to meet with them. So the Saints, they're set at quarterback with Tyler Shough. Spencer Rattler's under contract. And in line to be the backup. Overall, the Saints are in good place. But this is a quickly moving quarterback market. It isn't great for the retired Saints quarterback Derek Carr, who said he's open to coming out of retirement for the right opportunity. With options dwindling, Mike Triplett noted that the Steelers may be the least remaining option, or the last remaining option, that is only if Aaron Rodgers retire. So is it the Steelers? Will the Saints trade him? Well, not seeing a lot of potential destinations left for Carr, assuming the Vikings wind up with Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins. This is what shout out to Mike Triplett. Maybe just Pittsburgh if Rodgers retires. Carr was open about the fact that he would only return for the right opportunity. If Rodgers were to retire, the Steelers are a team that realistically could give him a chance to compete. Plus, they have the weapons all over the place, including DK Metcalf. They traded for Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts. You know, with the way the market's moving, the Saints should be rooting for Murray or another option to land with Minnesota as fast as possible. Then Aaron Rodgers waits to make his decision until even more quarterback options come up off the board. Well, Mike McCarthy already said that he's open to Aaron Rodgers returning, and Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers are cool. But does he want to play an additional year? If guys like Murray and Cousins are already off the market, then Rodgers suddenly retires. Carr will quickly become an attractive trade chip. But as things stand right now, there aren't many options out there. Now, this is right now. This could ultimately change going into the season. This could change. Like we seen old man Phillip Rivers get up off his couch and get into the league, right? Even if we don't move Carr now, it doesn't mean that he won't choose to do something much later on. Things are fluid in the NFL. Sometimes, unfortunately, people get hurt. That's the name of the game. So we'll continue to monitor the situation with Derek Carr to see what goes on there, man. To be honest with you, it'd be good to get him. He's retired, but to get him moved on up out of here would be a caveat. All right, anyway, man, let's keep this thing moving and grooving. We'll cover one more piece of information right here. I wanted to go over with you guys before we get into a reaction segment of the show. Pelicans are winning 49-48 right now with 3:47 before the halftime period. I hope they get this dub, man. Let's keep this stuff moving and grooving, man. We need to get as many wins as we can. All right, and let's take a look at the NFC South. That's one of the things I wanted to kind of span at with the family members so far is what we do. This is what Atlanta has done so far. They got 2 on a 1-year deal. You know, Johan Dotson, the 2-year, $15 million deal. They got a speedster there opposite of the big wide receiver. They also brought Zacchaeus there. Austin Hooper, who used to be with them, they brought him back on a 1-year deal. Kyle Pitts is tagged for $15 million for this season. Azeez Ojulari was brought in. Christian Harris was also signed, a linebacker, and Nick Folk, who is the kicker, old ass kicker. They decided to bring back. So I don't know what the game is. That was but remember Stefanski's running the squad. So what all this means for the Falcons, if we look at their unofficial depth chart, you see Tua would be here. They just simply did not update, the unofficial yet. But Bijan Robinson, Drake London, you see Dotson there as a speed option. The guy could take off. These are the top 3 wide receivers. You see they did add him in there as well. Kyle Pitts on the franchise, and Hooper supposed to be the backup. Their offensive line is intact. They got a decent line, Matthews, Bergeron, and others. And this is the part of the game with Penix. Penix said that he's supposed to be ready for week 1 in the NFL. That's what he's saying. I don't know if that fits the bill, but that's what they're praying for. Lowe gave us some inside game, said outside of Tua, the Falcons are looking to add an additional quarterback, a veteran of some sort. So we'll see what they do. Defensively speaking, you can see Dorless, a few other players, Zach Harris, and Jelani Walker, Divine Diablo, J.D. Bertrand, James Pierce Jr. I don't know what's going to happen with this dude, but maybe that's why Ojulari's here. Pierce had that situation with his girlfriend or whatever. I don't know how I haven't heard nothing from that in a while, but this was some nasty news from him. This dude could be in trouble. We don't know how that's going to play out. But the secondary, you see it right there. A.J. Terrell Jr., Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, solid safeties. And then Hughes and Billy Bowman, undersized Bowman. So and Nick Folk, the old man there with Bailey. So this is what the Falcons are doing. Not really exciting, is it, fam? It's not really so far, not looking very excitable. Then we go to the Carolina Panthers, who I think is the Carolina Panthers probably is the team that is most intriguing because they won the NFC South. They backed into the NFC South and then backed into the playoffs. got booted up out of that thing, but they are serious about competing, man. Adding Kenny Pickett to back up Bryce. They added some wide receivers, John Ameche III, who's a speedster, had a lot of injury stuff going on with him, but he's there with the Panthers to add that speed. David Moore. They picked up a couple of offensive linemen, Forsythe and our Luke Fortner, for a 1-year prove-it deal at $4.75, which doesn't seem expensive for a backup center, but the reality is he's going to be in a starting capacity. We talked about them eyeing Luke Fortner for the longest. Then the really big acquisitions that this team added was Jalen Phillips. They gave him a 4-year, $120 million deal. That's a huge gamble for him. They also added Devin Lloyd, a guy that the Saints was interested in going for. They added him in there. They brought back Isaiah Simmons, and they got a couple of defensive backs there as well. So they feeling pretty good because in their minds, did something to the defense. They needed a strong linebacker, interior linebacker help. The linebackers were not good, and Phillips is supposed to be a guy, despite injuries, who should solidify what they got going on. So they're excited about that and thinking that could be the move right here that can help elevate them to contention. As the unofficial depth chart shows, you see Bryce Young, Pickett's behind him there. Chuba is supposed to be the featured back. Jonathan Brooks is healthy and supposed to be the back. That's why they let Rico Dowdle go, because they think Brooks is ready to go. He's been banged up since they drafted him, but they think he'll contribute with Hubbard. Ted McMillan had a phenomenal year. Jalen Coker is the other guy with Xavier Legette. They added Amici right there as a backup option. Jatavion Sanders steps into the tight end with Tommy Trumbull. And then you see their line is pretty solid. You know, you got Icky, Moulton on one side. They spent money a couple of last free agent cycle, getting Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt at the guard positions. He got a lot of money sunk into the offensive line. Now Luke Fortner, as you can see, our Luke Fortner occupies the starting center position, and for $4.75. So he played well enough to earn a starting job, man, and more money than what he had before. Then, of course, the defense. Brown, I think Derek Brown, they restructured his deal. The Browns, Bobby Brown and Derek Brown, they were phenomenal playing. They were difficult to stop in matchups. I've seen them. You see Wharton's there. Nick Scorton was big for them as well. Devin Lloyd, you see where he fits at in the center of the defense. Jalen Phillips is listed here as well. And, of course, they still have Princely there as well. Like I said, they got these guys got 3 singers on their defense, man. 3 singers. They got Bobby Brown, they got Prince, and then they got Michael Jackson. You can't make these shit up. These people here, so whoever picking them guys like R&B music over there. And then you got Morick, Ransom, J.C. Horn, and Smith Wade. So the Carolina Panthers feeling good about themselves, fam. They're feeling good about themselves, man. But all that R&B music and shit. And then, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not much to talk about. In terms of the Buccaneers, Kenneth Gainwell was a solid acquisition, good running back. They brought back Cade Otton. Today they picked up Ashawn Robinson, who was released. They add him into the interior defensive line. And Alex Anzalone is the pickup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is the Buccaneers trying to get back? We know eventually with everything that happened with them, they have to kind of get back on the plus side of things. Baker Mayfield good again. He really struggled late, lost the team. But Bucky Irvin, Kenneth Gainwell is still there. Chris Godwin steps up. When Mike Evans is gone for a 3-year deal to the San Francisco 49ers, Emeka steps into that role. Jalen McMillan is a good young wide receiver as well. Cade Otton was brought back as a starting tight end. And then, of course, you see Wilfs, Brederson, Barton, Mulch, and Godecki on the offensive line. Decent line. Then defensively, you see Big Vita Vey. Robinson will sit on the defensive line with him. Alex Anzalone joins those guys interiorly to bring some veteran ability there. Yaya Diaby and all these guys supposed to step up. And, of course, you see on the back end of the secondary, Antonio Winfield's a stud. You see Zion McCullum play better, Tyke Smith and others. Are you guys, or is people really excited about what Tampa Bay is going to do? I don't know. I think Tampa Bay is on the downward slide of what we got going on. And, of course, finally, you look at what we talked about with our black and gold and our Saints, ETN, Fant, Edwards, Ridgeway, Ellis, Blackman, and Wright are the signees for our black and gold. And if you look at the depth chart, our official depth chart as well, that we talk about here, Tyler Shough with Spencer there, ETN with Elvin as RB2, Kendre Miller RB3, Neal at RB4, Chris Olave, Vele, and Tipton. You still have Polk here, who should have a role up here. Bub Means and these other guys, Trey Palmer, they should be healthy and raring to go. But the Saints deep at the wide receiver position. We just have to see who stands out. Juwan Johnson with Noah Fant as the tight end 2 for them. And then the offensive line, Kelvin Banks Jr., David Edwards is going to be fierce running to that left side. McCoy comes back healthy. The Salad at right guard and Tali Fuaga. So the Saints still have some work to do. Akeem Richards is the swing tackle. They still have Barry Wesley, the former Falcon here. Xavier Truss is the former Houston Texan guy that plays guard and tackle. Torrey Simpkins still has to get better. Will Sherman was a good pickup for him. He started several games when backup guy hurt. He had to come in there and play. Did actually well. And Nick Saldiveri is like Kendre Miller. He hurt every year, and at least Kendre Miller is actually playing some games. This damn guy, nobody got smoked for Nick Saldiveri. He don't play any games. He never healthy. I remember one year the Saints put this guy in the starting role, and he ended up getting hurt, and the guy had been hurt ever since. I can't think of a player who gave zero impact to the team. I guarantee you the first in the cafeteria. And then, of course, you look at the defense. You see Vernon Brockton with Cam falling off the depth chart because he's an unrestricted player. Vernon Brockton, the 3rd-round pick there. Devine Gacho, Brian Brissy. Backups, Nate Shepard, Christian Boyd, John Ridgeway, who signed his agreement. We have Kozai Izzard, who was one of the practice squad guys, and Miles Cole. Y'all probably remember Miles Cole we picked up. That's the 6'6", 280-pound defensive lineman the Saints picked up as well to see what he does, right? And then, of course, Carl Granderson. You see Caden Ellis is there where Demario used to be next to Pete Werner. Got Chase Young there. Backup Stepman, Ford, and Isaiah Stallbird for the Saints as it stands. Then we go Chase Young here. And then, of course, you go into the secondary. You got Kool-Aid McKinstry, Quincy Riley, and they got Jordan Howden at the nickelback position. Now, this is unofficial. But Blackman at safety and Howden at the nickel position. And like I said, I mentioned this, and like I said, this is unofficial. We don't know exactly how this is all going to play out. But like I said, there was a talking point that was being bantered around on the street about Jordan Howden and where he could play in the Saints defense. I never seen Howden play nickel. You know, I don't know if that position, but is this something that they could be possibly rolling around? Again, this is just speculation. We'll see what happens there. But nonetheless, you see Jonas Sanker here. We'll see what happens here because Sanker should have this FS1 job and Blackman should be in the backup. Sanker did enough to earn the starting role, so we know that's not right. Then, of course, the backups for the cornerback position, an expensive Isaac Yiadom. Where did he fit in there? Dallas Beanham, who's an inexpensive, undrafted cornerback with potential. You got the safety player, Elliot Davison, Benny Bishop Jr., Jaden Price, who actually had a decent practice camp, showed some stuff. Rajon Wright was another guy that they could be high on as well. So you know it's always some undrafted guy that steps up and see what he can do going forward. So do we have those? And like I said, there's still a lot of time in free agency. The draft is late April. A lot of stuff can happen. Of course, Charlie Smith is your kicker and Ryan Wright is your punter. So we got a strong leg kicker and we got a strong leg punter. So the Saints is doing some stuff. And as you can see, they did get this right with the punt returner being Trey Palmer. So, Trey Palmer coming off injury, he can help us there. And we're going to find some other returnmen on this team that can help the Saints do their thing. So as you can see from a depth chart standpoint, and until the Saints put it together frequently, that it is trending in the right direction, to say the least. But anyway, Juwan Johnson, look at the tight ends. Matavo was here. Zaire Mitchell Payton. Payton is the guy. Mitchell Payton was the guy they picked up from the Ravens. Actually did decently before he got hurt last year. I wonder what they think about him. 6'5", 260, kind of athletic build, was making some decent catches. Matavo's another guy that did real promising stuff for the Saints from the when he was in there as well, doing blocking. They had him lined up like a fullback sometimes. He got a lot of reps later on in the season. Will be interesting to see how does he continue to develop. So, yeah, there it is. All right, so y'all hit that like button, man. Let's keep it going. I got one more thing for y'all before we get ready to leave out of here. There was an interview recently done by Caleb Downs. I think it's in his brother, D2B, where Tyler Shough appeared on it. So we're going to kind of do that thing right now. All right, what's up, OG, says Q. Glad the special team. Yeah, indeed, sir. Indeed, my brother. Yeah, we definitely need it. What's up, Derek? Shout out to Derek White, Poppy 504. James said, I don't see no one at the second. Yeah, you got to get you one. Now, you might have guys they might try to cross-train, but I think that is building up the interior offensive line. You got Will Sherman and Torricelli Simpkins, and you definitely can use a veteran right now. But, as you get into free agency, you don't want to overspend on a backup offensive lineman right now. You can probably kind of let it chill a bit, see if you can get a guy at your rate. Because right now what the Saints did, they went in there and they picked up some things. There's still some shopping to do, no doubt about it, for what they do, because there's a lot of trades going on. There's various trades going on. We see the Dallas Cowboys trading people. They was involved in 2 trades already. The Commanders just signed them a new defensive lineman. So there's quite a few things that's going on in the market. We've seen the Cowboys made a trade. The Bucs just signed another defensive lineman. That's Alshon Jefferson. We just showed that. Cowboys traded Solomon Thomas to the Titans. What did they trade him for? What was they get a draft pick or something? Yeah, but it's just some stuff going on right now in the market with teams like they're still trying to pick up backups for solidification purposes. So yeah, you see them. They traded a Solomon Thomas and a 7th round pick to the Titans for a 7th round pick. So and they just traded for and got a defensive tackle from the 49ers. They traded a defensive tackle. I can't pronounce the man's name, Osa, to the 49ers for a 3rd round pick. So they got a pick back for him and then save. So they're trying to build through the draft going forward. So a lot of teams now kind of bailing off in free agency and let that money die down, that frenzy go away. The 3rd day, usually that frenzy dies off. All right, so anyway, hit the like button, fam. We about to do this. Here's the Tyler Shough interview that he did with Caleb Downs. This is a brother. Shout out to DC. He sent me this. Downs, some interesting information here that I did not know. So is this young man here the future of the Saints secondary? Let's hear it.
So I used to be a diehard Saints fan when I was a kid.
People actually get mad at me to this day when they be like, who did you root for as a kid? I was like, we used to root for the Saints.
I'm glad you know, man. So that way we get Caleb this year.
You think you get Caleb? What pick are y'all?
8.
That would be a good spot though. New Orleans, that'd be tough.
Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Okay.
All right, so Downs the Downs.
I feel like for Saints fans, it's such kind of like a small knit community to where it's hard to kind of break through that barrier. You kind of have to be yourself, but like once you kind of engulf yourself in it, like there's no better place to be, in my opinion. Like the fans, are super genuine. So I think it's just like what I've learned is just showing up, being around the people in the community, going to restaurants, going to do stuff.
Yeah.
Because it matters. It's not like New York City or LA or Vegas or Miami or these larger cities where you can kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
It's pretty real down there.
Nah, facts. I used to be a diehard Saints fan. I literally used to like throw objects at my TV when they lost. I used to be a real fan. I used to get mad at Drew Brees and like
people actually get mad at me to this day when they be like, who did you root for as a kid? I was like, I mean, not the Falcons, but we used to root for the Saints. Everybody from Atlanta.
Okay. All right. That means something here. And then you got the franchise quarterback up there talking to him. Hey, man. What you call them, optics? Yeah.
Talk, boy!
I remember that.
That's what I was saying. I was like, you guys are from Atlanta, right?
Yeah. But
that Minnesota Miracle, that actually, like, I was at a football banquet from my high school. And I'm sitting there just watching the game on the TV, and they're like announcing like awards and stuff. and like Stephon Diggs caught that ball, and scored,
sick.
And I'm sitting like I almost like cried, like, and I'm sitting there with my heart broken, and they're up there like.
Imagine, remember the Rams, the no call, the penalty.
Yeah, that was another one. They just
people like will die about that, and it's honestly insane.
Oh, it's a legit thing though.
Yeah,
that was PI. I don't know what that was. That might have been the worst
crime.
I've ever seen.
It was literally a crime.
It was, man. So
hey, man, this is a story I told this before, over and over again. I had a guy that I knew, whose father was a diehard black and gold man. Had a heart attack and passed away after that NFC Championship game. Serious story. Shit, this stuff is real to people, man. He had a heart attack. That NFC South Championship game, he had a heart attack. Crazy. And he ain't make it. That's a real story, fam.
But, I'm glad you know, man. So that way we get Caleb this year.
You think you and Caleb? What pick are y'all?
8.
8? Y'all good? Yeah.
8.
Y'all got Julian Blackman. He played for safety. He played for cool dude.
Yeah,
he's cool
awesome.
dude. So I know him.
No, we had Jonas Anchor did really well this year. He was balling. We got Jay Reed. We got a good group, but who knows? You got Caleb on the board.
Nah, you're right though.
So
that would be a good spot though. New Orleans, that'd be tough. Nah, let's see. Adversity you facing.
To be honest with you, man, Caleb Downs, like I said, is two secondary guys that I absolutely love in this draft. Number one is Mansour Delane, which is the fantastic cornerback from the LSU Tigers. He's awesome. Number two is, and depending on if you're looking at a complete defensive back, you got to put Caleb Downs over Mansour Delane because he can do the safety as well as the star role that Alante do. This man can do that. If you watch him, the game, he got ice water in his veins. He incredibly composed. He got a high degree of spatial awareness. The game, the lights, the moment is never too big for a player like that. It's like you know he ready for greatness and he's just waiting for the proper moment. He knows that if this guy, I'm telling you that man, listen, like I said, you study the film. I've done countless mocks, which I did scouting reports covering Caleb Downs, and the guy is excellent. What we seen Alante Taylor do, and I don't want to compare the two, just in the role of the star, could he do it? Not only could he do it, but you're looking at a guy that can become a multi-year Pro Bowler in time for you and a star in that defense. I mean, he's the star role and become a star, period, for the Saints defense. Just letting you know. Coach Staley will be able to use this guy. He blitz, he drops back in coverage. I mean, the guy is a terrific talent. Like, you got players that the moment they kind of shrink in front of the moment when the moment arrives, and then there's players that embraced it. Like, they wait and they say, now is my time, and they don't wait that window open, they go to it. This is what kind of player this is.
How did that help mold you and help you get to this point where you're just like, okay, I know who I am, I know what I can do, and I'm just gonna go with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was a backup for Justin Herbert my first 2 years. Coming in, he's like 6'6", 240, throwing, and it's like, okay, I got to get bigger and stronger. And then I go compete at Texas Tech and, win the job every single year there, but get hurt every single year and break my bone and have a, season-ending injury. And it's like, people got injured. So you're rehabbing every single day. You're trying to get back, and then you got to earn everybody's respect. And then you play and you do well, and then you're on the mountaintop, and then, it gets taken back away again. And really you got, people doubting you. You just kind of have to go back to your process. And then for me, it kind of helped me going into my last year at Louisville. I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to have fun.
That's real.
Play with my teammates. We're going to go have fun. And who knows what happens? If I get drafted, I get drafted. If I don't,
worked out.
Yeah. And then that mentality kind of helped me going into the Saints was just everything happens for a reason. And like when I get my opportunity, I'm just going to make the most of it. So I think it's hard coming in, especially at a younger age. You don't necessarily know there's a lot on your plate. The NFL schedule, there's a lot of games. You just going to have to take it day by day.
I got a question. What was the best conference you played in college?
Yeah, because I played in damn near every one of them. Best conference? Probably Big 12.
Really? You think Big 12 is better than ACC? Ooh.
Well, now this past year there was a lot of really good.
So wait, which conference are you playing? I know you played the Big 12, ACC.
Big 12 this past year.
What else? Yeah, what other conferences?
Well, I played. It was Texas, Oklahoma. There was Baylor, TCU. Not this. I'm saying when I was playing. ACC probably I would say ACC overall, But whenever I was playing, Big 12 was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Texas, Oklahoma, you got.
See, then I was in the Pac-12 when they had all the whole Pac-12 too. Pac-12 was.
Yeah, when they had Washington, everybody was real. A lot of respect for your story though, and like going through all the trials that you went through and everything like that. What was your process like after the season, after you finished your last season at Louisville, going into the draft? The same thing that I'm doing right now. What was that like for you?
It was a lot because around this time last year, before Senior Bowl, like I was probably the 15th, 20th quarterback on the board.
Before last year or this going
into the draft?
Oh, really?
I was kind of like, I was an older guy who had been injured and blah blah blah, and it was like going through this process and going through it with just like humility of like, no, just like help me out. This is like,
yeah,
I gotta play. Like my bones are fine. This is like I played in 5 different offenses, so it was kind of just this culmination of you got a lot of hype right now, but like still being very open about where you can get better and growing and still having that hunger. It helped me out so much because you're not disappointed by anything. And that way, when I kind of got around a lot of these teams and you're traveling to all these different teams for draft visits and all this stuff, you can either feel like you're the man or you can get beat down by it. But if you just kind of stay even keel, it's really enjoyable.
We had another player that's coming up in the draft, Carnell Tate, and we was asking like what teams he want to play for and stuff, and like what do he want in the team, and he said he wouldn't mind playing with the Bills, and he said he wants to go somewhere where he'll get a lot of targets. But he mentioned the Saints. Yeah. So credit to you. He was saying that he would like to play with you. What do you think of his game, and how big of an addition to the offense would that be? Since I mean y'all did let Shaheed go, but y'all still got a great receiver in Chris Olave.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with Ohio State. That's what I'm saying. Whether it's Caleb or Carnell, I think he's one of, if not the best receivers in the draft. So what he's been able to do, especially at that age, I think he's only going to keep getting better. It'll be a tough decision with these two guys. So he's obviously done. He's like that. So we'll see what happens, and I know he'd be a good get for sure. Nah, man.
I don't think. Listen, I've said Tate is probably one of my favorite wide receivers. His 40 time really kind of is going to taint his stock a bit. I mean, he's a technician. That's how Carnell Tate to me. He's a technician, but the 40 time not there. So that usually is what they kind of prioritize. So you might see guys like Jordan Tyson. Those guys kind of climb in there. You got the smallest, what's his name, Lemon, Makai Lemon from USC, I think it is. But yeah, they got some of those guys that are going to climb there. But yeah, I don't think Tate makes it to us, man. Yeah. Slim says, Raiders. Yeah. His heart was in Oakland. Says T-Mom. Yeah. I can see that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We out of time. I mean, we can ask you a lot more. Respect to your story. That's huge.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Well, that was a quick one right there, and pretty much because what it does is it kind of lets you know about Caleb Downs. More so, this was about Caleb than it was against Tyler Shough, because we've heard Tyler Shough's story. But it's pretty interesting when you get your franchise quarterback in the room. And then you have what the Saints are definitely looking at and actually looking at and doing recruiting, not so much recruiting, but scouting rather, on Downs. He fits a need for what the Saints could do at a high level. And he's right about the talent out of Ohio State. Ain't no doubt about it. The Saints love picking from Ohio State. When Coach Payton was here, and then they kept the ball rolling, picking guys from Ohio State to contribute. But we'll see how it all shakes, because in the end, there's still question marks about what do the Saints do in terms of the position. Like I said, we go to the right now to the poll right now, and ask the family members. Over 100 plus people are voting on the poll. What do you think the Saints should pursue next? Defensive end line, or it's a DE line, defensive line, which is a defensive end, defensive tackle, edge guy. That's the top selection in terms of D line, or O line, linebacker, or cornerback / safety. What do you think? 56% of the family members said, "Hey man, cornerback / safety is where we need to go next." Now, is that taking in consideration the fact that Cam Jordan could be hanging outside there? If you lose Cam Jordan, doesn't that where does that place it at, right? Because you would have to do something with that. But if the Saints lose Cam, there are some options out there. There's a Bosa out there if you want that. I mean, there are some options out there in terms of defensive linemen that if Cam is not the guy that we're looking for, there are other avenues out there. Let me see if I can pull up some of this stuff before we go. A defensive lineman that could be out there for Cam Jordan, a replacement. You can see, like I said, Joey Bosa is out there. You know, he's kind of been having some injuries as of late. But these are some guys, and it's getting kind of, you know, it's getting close. You know, Derek Barnett, he had some decent years. He got banged up. I hope there's not Jadeveon Clowney nowhere in there. But there are several other options available. Hey, y'all know both Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport are available in free agency. You got to be kidding me. El Kadeem Muhammad is available there. So they got a lot of options here right now. I just don't think a lot of these guys that you see that you might want seriously. But I mean, Cam makes sense, but it depends on what the Saints want. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, because they're falling fast too, fam. A lot of these people are coming off the board. Kyle Van Noy, he's 35 years old. JT Shayonka, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer guy. AJ Epineza from the Bills, he's out there. Von Miller is out there. DJ Wonnum. I don't know if any of these guys, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you're kind of looking at saying, hey, man, let's bring this guy aboard. If you him, I know Cam wants some money. Cam wants more than what the Saints are willing to pay. So if that's the case, it's a story over. If he's in free agency, what changes if he goes somewhere else? I think Cam is gone, man. In my opinion, I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, fam. Saints, if they're looking for somebody else, or possibly they can pick up somebody in the draft, we'll see. But there are some options out there if you are the Saints. Cam, they say Cam looking for anywhere between $8 to $9 million, according to some reports. But this is where it's at. All right, T-Mama said, El Kadeem Muhammad. He did well, man. We drafted him. He went up to Indianapolis and actually did a pretty decent job as a defensive lineman, a defensive end rather. Did pretty good. But yeah, both Marcus Davenport and Peyton Turner are free agents and out there waiting for somebody. They ended up at the same place at the same time, boy, I tell you. All right. Yeah. Yeah, he says, dude he is a dog. All teammates are saying the same thing about Downs, bro. Like I said, man, they're not lying about. Sometimes you get a player, like quite a few times, you'll get a player you look at and say, this guy, it doesn't take much thinking at all, because he's fundamentally sound, and you can see that the guy is a natural. Let's just say that the guy is a natural, and that's what Downs is. He's a natural at that position. And he's just the moment, like I said, the biggest compliment I give him, he can do all that stuff, man. But the moment, that's the thing about him going to Ohio State, the moment is not too big for him, bro. He ready for, like, if it's something that pop up, he ready. He's ready. He's ready for the big time, man. So the fact that he grew up as a Saints man, bro, that might just put him over the top, because making them they look at all of that. Now, of course, we've seen them bringing in Bell, the wide receiver from Louisville, but he has a second to third round grade on Bell. So if anything, like I said, the Saints gonna have a lot of picks, fam. Listen, 8 picks in all. They have 5 picks in the top, and 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. That's a lot of picks to have. You add the compensatory pick in there. That's 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. That's a lot of work there. That's a lot of work. And if you do what you did last year, like the kind of talent you put together, if you do that kind of game this coming year, oh yeah, Colorado, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well too, fam. Much love. And shout out to you guys. Y'all hit the like button, man. We up in this thing. Right, Rome. What's up to Rome? Shout out to the Rome saying, I see the Saints trading up. Okay. Trading up for who? Put it in the chat. Let me know who they trading up to get. What you see them doing? We trading up for Marcus Davenport 2.0. Now, I don't know. Davenport, man, that was a bad bet for the Saints, man. What really hurt us is the fact that they passed up on Davenport for they should have passed up on Davenport, but they passed up on Lamar Jackson. the Saints actually had an opportunity to land Lamar Jackson. They took Davenport. You blame Sean Payton for that shit. That was terrible, man. That was terrible. Could you imagine Lamar Jackson? Like I said, if the Saints draft Lamar Jackson, I think Sean Payton's still here. If the Saints, if they draft Lamar Jackson, oh man, Sean Payton here. Sean Payton would have got another Super Bowl here if they had did that. If he drafted Lamar Jackson and he been in the Sean Payton offense, the younger version of Sean Payton we had down here with Lamar and his offensive acumen, Sean Payton would have. There wouldn't have been no Dennis Allen era. There wouldn't have been none of that. That would have been Sean Payton. They would have got another Super Bowl and would have been competitive as a team from that time forward. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Decisions, man. How one decision can change the trajectory of your future. One stupid back-ass decision could change the whole trajectory of your life. Could you imagine that with that just one pick to say, I'll take Lamar Jackson? That would have changed everything for the Saints. There would not have been a Dennis Allen administration. Sean would not have left with Lamar as his quarterback. It would have been totally different. Totally different. It would have been different. But it is what it is. All right. Anyway, what's up, Gundam? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, man. All right. Gundam says, did we sign Quan Alexander? No. I don't know if Quan Alexander's still in the league, bro. I don't think he's still in the league anymore. He's not in the offense. In the league anymore. All right. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting, man, to be honest with you. But we'll see what the Saints do. Like I said, they got other moves to be made here. And Cam, a lot of people want to see him bring Cam back. But like I said, there are a lot of defensive linemen still available in this free agency cycle that the Saints could do. And, of course, they could ultimately decide to wait, family, on what they do, to be honest with you. They don't have to rush into it right now because they could let the money kind of drop right now. Everything's frenzied up right now. So if you allow things to calm down and then you go back into the market, you can get good players at cheaper rates because there's still some solid cornerbacks out there. If the Saints wanted to bring in a veteran cornerback, there's still a couple of guys out there, right? Somebody said bring Lattimore back. But, you know, there are still guys. The article mentioned Trayvon Diggs. I don't know if you want to bring him here. I mean, he is a solid cornerback, but he's probably going to want some money. And like I said, there are quite a few people that's out there if that's what you're going to do moving forward. But like I said, Jaquan Briskers, I don't know if they go for another safety, maybe a veteran cornerback, or perhaps they can go for a cheaper cornerbacks like they did last year when they signed the cornerback from the that we had that would play for the Redskins and the Chargers. He actually came, Mike Davis, the cornerback here. He was cheap. And he was actually a solid veteran to the mix for the Saints last year. Big cornerback, man-to-man guy. Saints got him on the base deal. You know, you can pivot to that if you feeling like that one might be the action, or if you want somebody that's going to press and push the room. You know, I still think that there are still offensive linemen out there for the Saints. I think getting another interior lineman, another guard there could be something that the Saints look to get to. You know, because we could use a veteran interior lineman. I don't think they want to pay a bunch of money for him. But, yeah, there's still some players out there that we can look at. You know, we'll see what they do, man, going forward. They didn't do too much today, but take a breath from what they did the last 2 days. But it's still very positive, to say the least. All right, fam, that's all I got for y'all today on the streams of Traquan Smith. All right, so with that being said, I'm getting ready to get out on that. Yeah, forget Apple. Was still in the league. Yeah, he forgot. Is Apple still in the league? Golly. Is Eli Apple still in the league? Go sign Eli Apple or Janoris Jenkins. I don't think Jenkins is in the league no more. I don't know I don't think Eli Apple is, unless last team he was playing for was the Skins. I don't know if for the Commanders, is he still in the league? He on somebody practice squad or something, man. That's crazy work. All right. Anyway, man, listen, that's all I got for y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. Check out the merch. Link in the description section below. For all your news, check out the whothatdaily.com for all the latest news for the Who Dat plus across the world, man. We up in this thing. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. Listen, fam, we'll return on Thursday as well. We'll have my boy Randolph from the Keeping It Real Who Dat podcast popping in with us on tomorrow. It's all right, OG. You good, brother. But, yeah, we'll have Randolph popping up on us. We'll be talking about the Saints recap and seeing what happens tomorrow in day number 4 of free agency as things kind of calm down and with the Saints as the price drop. We'll monitor the Cam Jordan situation. By all accounts, I think Cam more than likely is gone. We'll see what's going on there. That'll be another one because Cam was wanting to be a lifetime Saint, so I know that kind of hurt Cam. He had his mindset like Elvin did. Demario was a guy we brung in here. He had an impact, but Cam is a little different. Cam was drafted by the Saints. He wanted to end his career with the Saints. That will be sad because he wanted to stay here with the Saints. He just wanted a respectable deal. So we'll monitor it, man. That will be sad if we lose Cam because he wanted to finish as a Saint. It is what it is. All right. So anyway, shout out to y'all. Appreciate you for all of my Pelican faithful. Please feel free to know that I'll be doing the PPR tonight, the recapping of the Pelicans. The Pelicans hammering the Toronto Raptors 82-67, baby. In the end of the third, let's see if they can close the door in the fourth quarter and get another win, man. Come on, pals. All right, so with that being said, I'm on up out of here, y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, peace, and who that tell you.
Yeah. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a Falcon. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thewhodatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewhodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.